Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over the new massive update post we have gotten for Lost Ark. And this is a pretty long article on the official Lost Ark website, and I'm not going to be reading all this. I'm just going to go over some of the more important stuff, but I would 100% recommend you go and read this entire article yourself just to get a better idea of their thoughts about some of these updates and some of the stuff they're changing. And I think it's a really good post in general. So first off, this week we're joined by Smilegate RPG in our Seattle office for a fun and productive uniting of forces while we take a look at the content roadmap, improving operations and tools, and continue collaboration on all things related to the Western release of Lost Ark. We thought this would be a perfect time to also partner on authoring an update to address concerns we've seen within the community, share our approach for releasing new content into Arcadia's Western shores, and spoiling a few upcoming surprises. Now, the reason I thought this was important is because some of the team from Smilegate RPG is actually at the Amazon offices, and this post is a joint post. So people from both teams contributed to this post, and I think that's pretty important for the game going forward and showing that this is a decision from both the publisher and the creator of the game. So let's talk about Argos. We've seen player concerns that releasing Argos before a significant portion of the player base had progressed through Tier 3 made Lost Ark feel pay to win. We never wanted players to feel rushed into their quest to hit item level 1370. We considered having Argos available at launch, but viewed the Abyss raid as an important stepping stone, helping bridge a gap to endgame activities that have yet to be released in the Western version of Lost Ark. Through that lens, we wanted to give Argos a spotlight and a special introduction into Arcadia. Now, I like how they're just coming out and saying what all of the players were saying. A lot of companies legitimately don't do that. They kind of skirt around what all the players are actually saying, but this just straight comes out and says it. And I think the main issue was just having Argos come out this early. I think 2 weeks down the road, and most of the player base probably wouldn't have cared that much. So it definitely does seem a bit rushed by a lot of the player base. We made a mistake releasing the March game update too quickly after launch. Data we analyzed alongside Smilegate RPG from their previous launches projected that a larger portion of players would have reached the level required to challenge Argos. However, we overlooked certain variables such as players spending more time on horizontal content and the price of honing materials increasing due to bots and real money transactions. These factors contributed to a scarcity of Tier 3 honing materials. Together, our teams at Amazon and Smilegate RPG are continuing to gather data on play patterns in the Western version to better inform our future content roadmap. So again, one of the biggest issues with the March update was Argos coming out too early, and vast majority of the player base, probably like 99.9%, weren't able to do Argos. They weren't 1370 to be able to start that raid, and a lot of people weren't even in Tier 3 yet when it came out. And it's nice that they're giving reasonings to why this was released and why it was a mistake and why their projections were wrong. After analyzing data and listening to player feedback across all of our community channels, we believe that an update that helps adventurers progress with the content currently in-game is more important than releasing new endgame content. We'll expand on this below in the honing section. With that said, players should feel encouraged to progress at whatever pace they are most comfortable with. However, there is still a wealth of endgame content that needs to arrive in Arcadia. Endgame content will be introduced, but players should continue progressing at their own pace. Our goal is to provide fun content for players, even if it's at a higher level, while never making players feel pressure that they need to pay to progress. Flexibility has been a driving force in the collaboration between our teams, as has ensuring that players are able to enjoy and play Lost Ark how they see fit. To listening to player feedback on content timing, we want to remain flexible. So this is actually a pretty big deal that they're willing to change up their content roadmaps and what is going to be released, because a game like this that is successful in other regions and has a ton of content that has already been produced, made, and released in other regions is a pretty unique thing to have happen. Usually theme park MMOs wouldn't have the issue of having too much content to do on release, but this is something that is going to be very important for Lost Ark right now and going forward. So it's nice that they're flexible and listening to the players about even toning back how much content they want to have released. Amazon Games and Smilegate RPG will continue to monitor, but feel that Legion Raids, the definitive Lost Ark raiding experience, should be released after players have acquired enough materials to be confident and ready for the complicated challenges awaiting them. Don't worry, more content is still coming. Horizontal content like new classes, islands, and the continent of South Vern will be released as planned. We will share a more comprehensive look into our content roadmap for April and May in the near future after our week of in-studio collaboration has concluded and the plans have been finalized. So in the next week and a half or 2 weeks, we should be getting the official roadmap because the Smilegate team, like we mentioned, is at the Amazon Game Studio right now. So once they're done with that and they iron out the roadmap, we will probably be getting it pretty soon after it's fully finalized. And a big thing they're saying here is Legion Raids will be delayed. Now, Legion Raids are the big endgame raids. Argos is called a raid, but Argos is essentially a beefed up version of a Guardian raid, something pretty similar to that. But Legion raids are something completely different. They're massive raids. They're much harder. They require your entire raid to know what they're doing to actually beat it. And they're one of the big reasons that Lost Ark became so successful. So that's being delayed because they don't want to rush that out either without people being geared up for it. So they want a lot more people to be geared for Legion raids when they're released, so a lot more people can complete them. It kind of sucks, but I completely agree with this. And I think there's a lot of other content that can be released that they're going to be releasing that can fill in for these Legion raids. And they mentioned some of the content that is still going to be coming as planned. So horizontal content like new classes, islands, and the continent of South Vern. So new classes, there are a ton of classes that aren't released in our version. And there was a leak that was quickly taken down that shows that the Destroyer and the Arcana are going to be our first new classes coming. And I think that was a leak from the original roadmap that wasn't ever released because of Argos having such a big backlash. So they started to redo their roadmap. So if those are true, we will be getting the Destroyer, which is a big two-handed mace user in the warrior class, and the Arcana, which is a card-wielding mage. And then also South Vern is also pretty big. So South Vern is another continent, so you'll have your main quest to go through and do it. But one of the things is there's a new daily piece of content called the South Vern Chaos Dungeons that have their own tickets to enter, and they have their own vendor that actually gives a massive amount of different loot and resources. So that is a very good way to inject a lot more resources to allow you to much more quickly gear up through tier 3. And I do think the bridge is also tied to South Vern, which is essentially a beefed up version of our tower and gives a ridiculous amount of resources, but works a little bit differently in that you don't have to go through every level if you don't want to. You can just start at a higher level and get all the rewards from the previous levels. And in the other regions of the game, this piece of content gives just a ridiculous amount of resources. It probably gives one of the biggest infusions of materials that the game has ever added. Now that we've discussed our approach to progression and endgame content, let's move on to cosmetic skins and advanced classes. As we read the forums, watch streams and videos, check in on Discord, and hop in game, we've seen feedback that players would like skins and advanced classes to be released at an accelerated rate. These two categories of content are entwined, which is one of the reasons that speeding up too much is tricky. Existing skins in the Korean version were released before some classes, requiring art and development time to rig models with skins for newer classes and the special weapons that accompany them. Still, we are releasing skins at a faster rate than they were originally in Korea, and we will continue listening to player feedback about the tempo of their release. Classes will be released faster, and our goal is to catch up. As we release new content into the game, we want to add new classes that complement that content. More classes will be available soon, and we'll share specifics in the upcoming roadmap we're working on with Smilegate RPG in the studio this week. So this is some of the horizontal content and some of the things that players have been wanting them to accelerate the speed at which they're going to be releasing more advanced classes and skins, and they're pretty much confirming here that that will be something they're doing. Like I mentioned, there are a ton of classes we don't have, and the other regions have a ridiculous amount of skins. There are a ton of different skins released in the other versions of the game, but the reason they're just not releasing all the skins is, first off, the skins are a part of the player economy. Even just buying skins off the market, people can still sell them on the market to other players, so adding just this ridiculous influx of skins can cause a problem. And second, a lot of people will complain if they release a ton of skins too quickly because people see it as them just trying to milk money from all the players with all these new skins. So striking a balance balance with new skins is pretty important. And I think accelerating how fast they're releasing these classes is going to be a big plus from the community. I think there are even a ton of classes that people have, looked up all the information for, seen all the footage, and there are classes that aren't released that people want to main. So having those come quicker is going to be a good thing. Another area of player concern we've seen is around honing. We know that for every triumphant yell as a player succeeds a low percentage hone, there are other players frustrated with their attempts failing, leaving them without enough materials to try again. As players focus on their first character, we've seen that there are a lower number of alternate roster characters to help feed main characters and the economy with high level honing materials. A shortage of tier 3 progression materials coupled with problems introduced by bots have made honing materials too expensive and a burden for players. To combat this, we will be supplying more progression materials for players to earn through fun in-game events, ejecting more gold into the mid and end game, and continuing our hard stance against bots. So this has definitely been a major issue. If you guys didn't know, there was actually a ban wave of around 200,000 bots, gold sellers, and players buying that gold, which is causing a massive amount of inflation. A free-to-play game that doesn't have a social security number tied to it like Korea has, just has a massive amount of bots into it, which has really negative effects on the economy for normal players. And so they're saying here they're going to be adding more events to give us more materials and more gold so we can progress faster through tier 3. And in my opinion, having more tries at honing your gear is better than having less tries but a higher honing chance. Because I think if you have a really low chance, a 5% chance to upgrade your gear, but you have a bunch of attempts at doing that, I think that's going to feel much better than if you have a bit higher of a chance, say a 15% chance, but only have 1 or 2 tries. I think that's going to feel much worse than just having a lot more tries. So next up, injection of honing materials. In next week's update, we will provide additional Grand Prix honing rewards, introducing a new casual event Guardian Raid to supply players with more honing materials, and kick off the first season of competitive proving grounds. So we are actually getting 3 new big things with the next update. So first off, we're getting more Grand Prix rewards, which is the event going on right now. I've gone over a video going over all the rewards and how to farm it quickly. A new casual event Guardian Raid, which gives a ton more materials. We'll go over that in a minute. And that's something that I'm pretty sure is completely unique to our version of the game. I don't think other regions have gotten this specific thing. And we get our first season of the competitive proving grounds, which means we're getting the PvP vendor, which I also went over in a video of how to farm the currency to buy that very quickly. So the event Guardian Raids. In this event, you can enjoy Guardian Raids in a more casual way. Relax, play, and get honing rewards. Similar to the Grand Prix, you can enter once a day per roster and earn event-specific coins to spend on rewards at a new vendor. This vendor can be found in major cities alongside the entrance to the new activity. In this event, scale of balance is applied to change a character's stats to match the Guardian's level, and the difficulty is adjusted according to the number of participants in the raid. Players will be able to challenge Helgia, Frost Helgia, Lumeris, Urnil, Virtus, Chromanium, Narcansia, Dark Lagoris, Ice Lagoris, Calventus, and Levanos. So that is just a bunch of the names of the Guardian bosses. That is actually a big chunk of the Guardian Raid bosses that are currently in the game. This event will last for roughly a month, and players with item level 250 or above will be able to participate. We'll reiterate the details of the event in next week's update notes, but are excited to spoil the surprise as players look to earn more honing materials. So like I mentioned, I don't think any other regions have gotten this specific event, but essentially we're getting a new vendor with this new event, and you get to go in and do this event once per day per roster. So you just do it once on one of your characters. You will earn coins for this new vendor that you can buy a bunch of materials from. And this event is essentially a scaled, more casual version of one of the Guardian Raid fights. And if you're 250, which is just level 50, that's just right when you hit 50, you should be at 250. So right when you hit 50, you can participate in this. Not sure how many people will be in it. It might be much larger than the 4 players because it is one of these events. Maybe it'll be like 30 people or something in it. And it's going to be a much easier version, just something you do daily, and then you can get a ton of new materials. Arcasia Grand Prix adjustments. We're adding tailoring books and metallurgy books to the reward table for players to increase their honing rates. And we're for increasing the number of event coins earned to help players get items easier than before. So they're giving us more coins for the Grand Prix, which is the event we got last week that I went over in another video. Now the books they're giving us, these tailoring books and metallurgy books, these are to increase your honing chance, but these are very rare items normally. Even the tier 1 version of these books are very expensive, and I think even some of the tier 3 versions of these books go for like 30,000 gold or something. They're really rare from certain activities, and we're just getting them from the vendor now. And this is actually a really good way to give people a way to increase your honing chances, but also not invalidate the work other people have already put in who are at higher item levels, because you can use these books no matter what item level you are to increase your chances. So this is a very good change. PvP rewards. For players eagerly awaiting PvP action, Season 1 of Competitive Proving Grounds will release in the next week's update. Players will be able to earn a variety of rewards, including access to weekly hunting materials. We'll have a dedicated article announcing more details next week. And I did a video going over how you can go about farming these coins right now for when the competitive season comes out, because when that season comes out, there's a vendor that you can buy a ridiculous amount of resources from, but you can already earn the coins right now since last week. And I made a video going over all of that information as well. So just a ton of additional rewards from that PvP vendor. And then finally, gifts. Lost Ark fans around the world are celebrating all the new players now enjoying the game they love. Players in Korea receive gifts to commemorate the Western launch of the game, and we wanted everyone to be included. We're so grateful for all of you who have joined us on the start of this adventure, and we're excited about the long future ahead. To help you on this journey with us, enjoy a gift full of fun cosmetics and useful materials. You'll receive this gift the week of March 21st after our weekly update and maintenance. And this gift is massive, and it's actually really cool. So we get a new animal skin selection chest, a Makoko pet selection chest, a Makoko board mount selection chest, a Lost Ark United structure, so it's a structure for your stronghold, appearance change ticket, so you can change the appearance of one of your characters, 132 Fions, which is massive, 5 Menelix tomes, which give you card XP, 2 legendary card selection chests. This is massive. This allows you to choose any legendary card in the game, and we get 2 of them. This is absolutely ridiculous. And then jukebox songs that will be provided when that content is released in the future. And there's a picture below. I'll have it in my video. This is actually really cool. And I think on the Reddit, there's probably a bunch of people with pictures and videos and GIFs showing off some of the stuff. So it's a selection of a bunch of different Makoko pets, Makoko boards. So it's like a floating hoverboard type of mount. And then a selection of a ton of different skins. And there's tons of different colors for all these. The pets and the mounts are animated. So there's different ones that look like RGB, or ones that just change the full color, or ones that are like a night sky. Tons of really cool stuff. And the skins on this are kind of more the meme skins that Lost Ark has in other regions. There's like cow costumes, dinosaur costumes, chicken costumes, tons of different stuff like that. In other regions, especially Korea, there's tons of these more meme skins, much less serious skins. But these type of skins are usually super rare. Usually when you get them in an event, you really don't get a chance to get some of the specific ones again. And most of them usually aren't able to be bought and sold on the market either. And that's pretty much all the information I wanted to go over for this new update. I think this is a really good update for all the players. I think they pretty much hit everything all the players wanted. I think it's pretty rare that you get a gaming company to do an update this quickly that takes responsibility for the issues that were going on, telling exactly how they're going to fix them, telling why they happened, and giving us a bunch of new updates and content to fix them. I think this is a really good thing for the game, and I think stuff like this is a big reason why a lot of players have stuck with the game in the other regions and love the game in other regions, because even if Smilegate and now Amazon mess up, they always do their best to fix it, let players know what went wrong and how they're going to go about fixing it, and doing that in a pretty timely manner. So overall, a really good post. But that's pretty much all I want to go over, so subscribe if you want to see more Lost Ark or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about all this new information, and thanks for watching.